So, thanks for coming. My name is Maxence, and I'm pretty happy to be here in Vienna. This is the first time for me, and for now, I really like the city, so it's really cool. We're gonna talk for. I'm gonna talk for the next hour about the progressive web apps. Uh, yes, all of my slide, everything. This is my slide deck, maxpoo.fr/talk. I'm gonna give some numbers, etc. So if you want to check the source, even if you want to see back the slide after, go here. After, you just need to select the correct talk, which is progressive web app. Okay. So this is the starting point of my talk. Months ago, I read I start to find on Twitter, on some blog posts, were talking about native apps, and according to some people, they were doomed. So I start to dig into that, and I find some interesting studies, interesting statistics about it. First of all, 50% of the American user download 0 app per month. Then only 10% download 1 app a month, and after another 10%, etc. Okay. I also find that most of the time we spend on our smartphone is on the top 3 app, and also last points, it's more about revenue. It's pretty hard if you are doing a native application to get revenue from this. If you are out of this this publisher, so or the Google, etc. There is another problem. If your company got an app, it's hard to reach people. What I mean is, on every step you got, on every step you are losing 20% of the user. So you have to find an app, you lost 20 users. Then you click on the detail, you lost 20 users, etc., etc., etc. So at the end, if you want to reach 1,000 users, at the end, maybe 262, according to this study, 262. Yeah, it's an average, but gonna use the app. And on this 262, the studies say 75% of the user download an app, use it once, and never come back. On the day 2, we are more than 80%, tack, 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 until at 3 months after, or even 3 months after, we got something close to 5% of the user we still use your application. The reason is, one of the reasons is sometimes we have to download an app and we don't really want it. When I came here in Vienna, I had to install an app for Lufthansa, I think. I'm just gonna use this app once, and look, it was pretty similar, something like 40 megabytes, just to show one QR code to the on the airport. That's only why I need an app for this. After there is some use case, it's still relevant. About reachability also. Because of all of this friction, it's hard for you to get new customers on your app. And on the other hand, a mobile with the web, it's pretty more simple to reach new customers. But if you got an app, you probably know that the user spend more time on the native app than a mobile application. Why? The answer is pretty simple. You got notification. The user got already the icon on the desktop. So yeah, there is more engagement. So let's summarize. We got two things. We got the mobile app and the website. With the mobile app, we can do a lot of things. There is a lot of capability, etc. But the reachability is really hard. And here, my web app, I can reach a lot of people, but I cannot retain them. So some people, mostly from Google, they start from this starting point and say, okay, how to increase my website and get something with more capabilities. So that's the main the main reason to switch to something called the progressive web apps. So we're gonna try to put at the same level in terms of functionalities a native app and a web app. The progressive web apps, it's just a set of correct rules that your web apps have to reach. So take care, you don't need to update your LinkedIn profile right now. You probably do some of them. The first one of the first rules is get links. One page equal one link. Welcome to the HTTP protocol. Something, it's pretty basic. So I'm not gonna stay longer on this slide. I was talking about HTTP. We could add an S. You recognize the lock here. For years, people didn't switch to HTTPS because of money. They did not want to buy a certificate. I have a good news since 2016 now. There is something called Let's Encrypt, and now this organization provide free certificates. And no, it's not from Hipster or Bitniks. Look, there is a lot of look, the sponsor. I mean, we can trust this. Okay. The third point, really basic as well, responsive. If you still don't know what's responsive, remember this picture from Stephanie Walter. And she said, yeah, content is like water. So don't want to put all the data from this screen to your mobile. Do something, yeah, responsive to adapt to the device. Now we start to reach something a bit more interesting, because you probably already follow all these three steps. The fourth one is getting something more app-like. So when you are using a progressive web app, you should not think about I am on the web, I am on the app. No, it should be the same experience. There is something interesting called the application shell architecture. So given I'm a shop and I want to show some clothes, George.com did that. They put this on the left left screen. So all the architecture, etc., you keep it. It's instantly loaded, and then you do asynchronous request to the network, and you go and you fetch the data. And when the data are here, it feed the it feed the screen. You got something pretty similar if you are using Microsoft Teams. It's an equivalent to Slack, and there is also this, I think, in Facebook. When you scroll really, really fast, you just see the architecture. Here also an interesting study. George.com reduced the page load by 3.8 by using this. So it's something really interesting. Yeah. The fifth point. The fifth point is getting something progressive. there is a framework I'm using, which is called, I'm using in my company, it's called Vue.js, and they say it's a progressive web framework. It means you can use this, you can create some small component in this technology in old-fashioned websites without breaking everything, etc. So here it's kind of the same. There is a lot of diversity of browsers, so if you want to add something fancy in your browser, it should not impact the whole browsers. Because, yes, unfortunately, not every browser are the same. This is a screen from Firefox 58. So as you can see, I cannot do some Bluetooth, USB, NFC, etc. But if I check it with my Chrome here, I think I'm gonna get something slightly different. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, for instance, this and the background sync, etc. It's not the same in Firefox than in Chrome. The 6 points. It's getting a fresh application fresh. By fresh, I mean always up to date. There is something here, a new word, service workers. I will come back in this notion just after. The idea behind this is to get an application always up to date. Here, if you see, this is my an app from my bank. I updated it 4 days ago, and they already asked me to do an update. Well, sometimes it's not a big deal, but when I need this app, sometimes I just need it right now. Like this is what I get the other day. I came back from work, and I just wanted to play to my race game, and I got this screen say, not today. Well, here it's okay, it's 48 megabits, but sometimes it's even more, and it's pretty annoying. So the idea behind this is to use something called background sync, to use some task in background to update your app. If you are using some browsers like Firefox, Chrome, they are working like this. You get an update, and they just say, "Oh, next time you're gonna reload the browser, you're gonna get a new version." But they don't block you. So this is the idea. The 7th point is about installation. As I said before, something good with your with native apps is you got the icon on the screen. So here the idea is exactly the same. You should be able to get your web icon on screen. Oops. This is the progressive web apps I did with this Vue.js framework, and it's based on the GitHub API, so I call it GitHub. If you see here, there is a small house with a plus. So it means it's a progressive web apps. You can install this app. So if I click here, I will get something like this. Do you want to add this application on your screen? I click on Add to a Screen. And here I got it like this. So this is my phone. You got 2 icons here in the middle, one from Firefox and the other one from Chrome. And the difference between this and the shortcut, because sometimes you can just take a shortcut of the website and put it on your home page. But here it's considered by your sorry, your operating system as an application, which means I can after find it if I want to find an application in my phone. There is also something. So these slides are progressive web apps friendly, which means I can also install them. So I'm on Chrome here, and if I want to install my application, wait. Here I clicked add to home screen, and it doesn't work. Oh, no, my bad. I didn't saw. Look, there is add this application to your shelf. So you click add. And cool, my browser is gone. Wow, demo effect. Okay. Let's restart this. Okay, install app. I inspect. I go on the application, add to home screen, add. Okay, add to your desktop. So here, this is how it's working in Ubuntu. And after, I got something pretty weird here. So I click, I say trust on launch, and tada! I got my slide, and it's look like an app. And look, I can also here put it on my dock. You got something pretty similar on OS X. I didn't test on Microsoft. The full screen. I didn't test it on Microsoft. So yeah, every browser got a different way of handling this small house, the install button. I think in Opera, it's on the left. It's also look like there is also a plus. In Chrome, you must visit the page 2 times to get this. And yeah, that's it. You might think, okay, it's good. How can I get this plus button on my website? There is something called the manifest.json. It's a web app manifest, and it allows your application to be discoverable. So the web app, the JSON, it's a file where you can put some different information about your web app. So you get the name, a short name. The short name it's to put it on the screen, on your home screen. Then you got a set of icons. As far as I remember, for Chrome you need an icon with 500 pixels, something like this. Start URL, it's the entry point. Check out. I put source equal home screen. If you check the spec of the web app manifest, they say you can do this for analytics. So after, if you got some Google Analytics or something like this, you can say, okay, I got 10% of users using this web apps from the screen. Also, display full screen. If you check on my web app, when I checked just before the installation, you didn't saw all the panel from the browser, and mostly the most important here is we don't see the URL bar, so it's really look like a real app from your phone. And after you can put some background color and theme color. I got another example here. So I'm still on Chrome. If you want to check your web app manifest on Chrome, you got the developers tools, and you just go on manifest. you will see the name, the short name, etc., and the add to home screen. So if something is wrong, Google will, the tool will tell you and say, oh, I cannot add it on the screen because of this, this, this. So here, I put this, some colors, and I got all of my set of icons. Something cool, there is a lot of websites. You just put one icon and they generate everything, including the manifest.json. So it's pretty easy to do. Also, I was talking about Microsoft. I said I don't know how did they manage this, but I got a good news. Microsoft want to crawl all the progressive web app from the web, convert them into something weird. I don't know what is AppX, but after what they want to do is to put them in the Windows Store, so as a real application. I think it's something really cool, but look, I put a scientist here, so it's still in draft. So we have to wait. They say 2018, so I think, but it was in September, so I think we have to wait something like 6 months, and after maybe we're gonna see some application in the Microsoft Store. So here for to reach new customer, it can be pretty good. Another point to increase the engagement with your customers is the notification. You probably saw it already in some websites. Well, sometimes it's a bit annoying because when you open a website, say, oh, can I send you a notification? So you accept or you decline. And it looks like this. So I have to turn off. And here, when I click, I got some notification from the operating system. And here, it say, okay, so you got a notification from the application called PWA. This is the website, and this is the message. And now about connection, because this point is about making a website offline, because the best request is no request. It was my face when I saw this. I say, whoa, I have to do a website offline? Yeah, let's explain how it's works. Oh, no, before. Why? Why? Well, we are in good country with really nice internet connection, but unfortunately, it's not the same everywhere. So yeah, in Australia, it's pretty good. I'm working in Ireland, it's pretty good too, but if you check in some country in Asia, in Africa, in South America, it's not good. Well, even in France, it's one of the best, but I'm sure when my parents gonna see this talk on YouTube, they will not see it in HD because they got a pretty bad connection. And also something that we have to keep in mind, it's 45% of the world population, it's still on 2G network. So we have to think about these people. There is still people in Africa, they download what's the name? An Android app, and after they can give them to each other by USB. So yeah, unfortunately, not everybody got a really fast Wi-Fi. So how does it work? There is something called Service Worker. This is a web page on the network. Something really basic. If you want to see the page, you do an HTTP GET to the network. And something is coming in the browser. Well, it's already here, but the document from the W3C is still in draft, but it's already implemented in all the browsers. Basically, you got your web page. if you want to access to the network, there is something in the middle called a service worker. It's not only a proxy. Some people resume a service worker as a proxy, but it can do much more. But the interesting part from this point is what we can do with a service worker. So I want to access to the network, and the service worker say, oh, I saw this request. Maybe I can put it in the cache. So then, if you want to get it again, you just need to call the cache. And all of this is browser side. When I saw this, I say, wow, it's pretty cool, because now I can do a lot of things in my application. Jake Archibald wrote something called the offline cookbook. In this offline cookbook, he gave us some pattern from offline strategy. This one is cache first. You want to load a page. So first, you ask to the cache. If there is nothing in the cache, then you fall back on the network. There is another one. It's the opposite. It's network first. Otherwise, you go on the cache. Yeah, for instance, if I'm a shop and I want to show the product, I can use this. But maybe for really sensitive data, like the price or the availability, maybe I want to do something like network only. So no way, you don't put anything in the cache. Some more interesting, the cache then network. So look, I ask in parallel to the cache and to the network. The cache returns me the data, and on the same time, I'm going on the network, and after I can retrieve the data. So while I'm navigating on the website, the data, so first at T0, I got the data from the cache, and after while I'm navigating, the data are getting up to date. Something pretty similar, it's my favorite, it's style while revalidate. You always saw the assets, but from T-1, from the last time you were on the website. It can be interesting for assets like JavaScript files, CSS, etc. So first page, the user saw so when the user go in your website, he saw the result from yesterday, or for the last time he went to your website, and etc. But if you got a single page application, maybe it doesn't make sense. But if you don't have a single page application, a website like Facebook, usually you don't do only one click. You reload the page several times. So on the first page, you got the version from yesterday, maybe, but the page load instantly. And on the second page, you got some up-to-date data. So I gave you some few strategy for offline. There is much more in this website, in this cookbook. I recommend you to take a look. And yeah, you can also follow this guy, Jake Archibald. It's a pretty good guy from Google. Now, how does it work? How does it work, all of this? Or I can do that on my website. This is some JavaScript code. Basically, everything is based on promise, but I don't know about you, but sometimes it can be a bit annoying to write very huge text, huge code just to manage my assets. There is something called Workbox. Workbox, it's a pretty good tool, sponsored by Google, by the way. And basically, it looks like this. So on the first parameter of this function, so I define some roots, and I say, okay, everything which look like PNG, GIF, etc., all the image, I want to apply a cache-first strategy. I can also put some fancy name, like the name of the cache gonna be image. You only store 60 image, and for a duration of 30 days. Or if you want something way more simple, you can do something like this. Here, I want to store all the HTTP calls from the GitHub API, and then I want to apply the network first strategy. I'm sorry for you, there is no you have to deal with regex. So if you are not, if like me, you are not a big fan of regex, it can be a small issue. Now let's switch to the 11 points, single page application. No, I'm joking. And hopefully, there is a lot of people, they say you have to build a single page application to do a progressive web apps. It's wrong. And it's something pretty cool because building a single page application is hard. So no single page application. So let's summarize. This is my definition of a progressive web app. It's just something really cool like this. So you got a website and the progressive web app, but it's not really professional. So let's switch to another definition from Alex Russell, another guy from Google, which is working on progressive web apps. It said a PWA, it's nothing else than a website which takes the good vitamin. What are these good vitamin? So let's summarize. It's something reliable. So HTTPS, you can get it even if you are offline. Also, it's fast, thanks to the service workers. And you can get some you can better engage your customers with by installing the application, getting some what's the name? Notification, etc. Another great tool to help you to build the best PWA, it's Lighthouse. Lighthouse, you get it by default on Chrome. So I opened the dev tools here, and you get a pane called Audit. And here you can click to perform an audit. You select what you want. So here, let's select everything. And Lighthouse will scroll your website, check about performance, how performant it is, and 2G network. So blah blah blah, and after it will give you a report. So here you're probably gonna blame me for the performance because I got a lot of image and I did not really optimize them, and maybe also you're gonna complain for some stuff because I put some CSS in the HTML. It's not really nice, but it's not the goal. Do I need to wait? No, I don't have time to wait. So yeah, you can see what it is doing. And here I got my result here. So I'm 64 compliant with progressive web app. So there is problem because my application doesn't register a service worker. I probably break something. Here you can also get some the first meaningful paint. This is really interesting. Even if you don't want to build a PWA, you can get some good insight from your websites. Say, okay, I have to optimize this to get a better SEO. Something good with Lighthouse, you can also put it in CLI. So by using it CLI, it means you can use it in your pipeline, CI, CD, etc. Another point really important, it's speed matter. I like this picture. This is the team from Red Bull. They are changing 4 tires in 2 seconds, while the average page load on a 3G network is 19 seconds. Wow, 19 seconds. It's really slow. I don't know why. Well, no, we know. Basically, it's because of the analytics, non-optimization, etc. And something you have to keep in mind about speed, if half of the people expect your website to load in less than 2 seconds, and if your website load in more than 3 seconds, yeah, 3 seconds, you lost 50%. 50% will bounce. So it can be something really nice if you want to sell PWA in your company. check the bounce rate. But unfortunately today, there is things that we still cannot do in a progressive web app. Like I cannot access to NFC, to the calendar, to my contact list. So we have to wait. If you remember the screen from the screen I show you about what the web can do, it's changing, it's moving really fast. So I discovered yesterday something called no, not yesterday, but a few weeks ago, something called Web Payments API. There is a lot of friction today in your application if you want to sell something. Basically, on my phone, there is something pretty good, is when I want to buy, it's already linked to my Google accounts. It's pretty fast to buy something on a mobile app. But on the web, you have to take your wallet, the credit card, etc. So yeah, to avoid this friction, they are developing this payment request API. And I think I did this in some really few lines of JavaScript. You can get something like this. So here, I give you a link if you want to buy an iPhone for 10 euro. It looks like this. And I got something from the browser here. And I got the detail of my bills. Here, I can put my credit card. And I just need to click on pay, and that's it. I don't need it, so I will not pay it. Also, unfortunately, the user yet are not really used to this install button. So I don't know, maybe in few years people will use this, but for now, there is still a reflex to go on the store. So they have to work on it. If you check the first version of the install button and what is it today, it changed a lot. So they're still trying to find the best way to engage user through this button. Now, the last part is about feedbacks. Some company moved to progressive web apps and they gave feedback to the community. The first one is Twitter. If you remember the map, I show you in Africa, for instance, there is no, the network is pretty low. Company like Twitter want to keep this market and want to better reach this market. So they create something called Twitter Lit. It's just Twitter, but in a HTTP request, you just take what you need to. So there is less more request. I think the full home page only took 1 megabyte to load. It's much more for the other app. And yeah, when they did this app, after they take some metrics, and it's pretty interesting to see that because the app is better, there is better performance on with the browser, etc. So the user use more the applications, 65%. It's a lot. So and also people use more the app. They tweet more and they come back more often. The 20%. Also, FORP did something pretty similar. They switched to PWA, plus 100% engagements. It's pretty good. It's awesome. The user use more the application. Yeah, you got the source. It's also on developer.google.com. It's a really good resource to switch to PWA or to get some insight from company that switched to PWA. So it's the developer blog from Google. And also the last one is what Pinterest did. Pinterest, for me, it's the most important study from them. So they say, okay, let's go to PWA. And they realize that people stay more on the app, they consume more, they get more money because they are based on, they use advertising, fortunately and unfortunately for us. There is more engagement. And after, they also did something interesting. They compared the the statistic from the native app and from the web app. And they realized that it's kind of the same. So if you remember, at the beginning, I was showing you this diagram. So today, where here it's in the same level, it's not in the same level, to be fairly honest, but it's changing a lot. There is a lot of improvement from the browser. It's changing fast, so maybe yesterday you didn't wanted a native app for some reason, but now you can do it because your web apps can access to your position, geolocalization. You can also buy on your mobile, etc. So keep an eye on this website, what web can do today, etc. Because yeah, it's moving really fast. Thank you. I think I got time for some questions. Yeah.
So it is not possible for my PWA to show up in the App Store?
No. So your question is it possible today to be in the application store? Application store, you mean the Android store and the iOS one? For now, the answer is no. There is nothing. I already checked. The only thing is planned is from the Microsoft Store to put PWA. After, I think there is a reason. There is a reason why they didn't talk about it. It's also because you have to follow some rule, mostly for I think the iOS. For iOS, they scan or they scroll your application, etc. And for a web app, it's a bit harder to check what's inside. And so for me, it's the reason. After maybe it's gonna change. I don't know. Any other question?
You said right at the start that I think it was somebody else's quote that the native apps are dead. Do you actually believe that, or do you think there's still a place for them in the world?
So if it's the end, the question if it's the end of the native app. Well, I don't have my crystal ball. Some people say native apps are dooms. It was the introduction. I truly believe that today the progressive web apps are in few years they're gonna get challenged. Does it still relevant today to build native apps? Yes, for some companies they're making all of the money here. After I also saw even some applications they were only on native apps, and they switch also to web apps like Tinder. They switch to PWA. There is a nice blog still on Google, and they're giving some insight. So people are switching to this because there is a need. I don't know if it's gonna get replaced. From my point of view, yes, but I'm not really good for prediction. So yeah, I also put, if you check on the slide, I put some tools also. There is one called PWA Builder. They help you to generate your manifest. There is a webpagetest.org to measure the performance of your website. Yeah, also, oh yeah, you were asking if it's still relevant, the native apps. It was on my backup slide. This is the trend from Facebook. So the world go on mobile. So yes, it's relevant to still building native apps, but PWA for me, it's also really interesting because the mobile on the web, it's still the same. It doesn't decrease. So, yeah.
I have a rule of thumb, like I don't install something if it's available on a website. Is there, because basically a native app has access to a lot of things on your device that the website cannot, but what are the restrictions
Ah, okay. Yeah. Well, I think you can saw it. Well, here. So your question is, what's the website about your privacy, right? So if there is access to, I think it's there. Yeah, you got it in Chrome settings. So you can see here, for instance, your web app can access to your geolocalization without asking you. Um, I was a bit scared when I saw this. I say, wow, they can check a lot of things. Yeah, so your GPS localization, they don't need to ask you. They can access it directly. So here, the notification, by default, here I allow, but you can also block them. But the most important things to watch is what you can get by default. So yeah, here the camera, well, not here the location, it's the default. So they need to ask. Maybe it was on Firefox, it's by default. I don't really remember. So yeah. After you have to, some stuff are blocks. For some of them, they allow by default. So you have to keep an eye on it. But yeah, something good also with your native apps, you know what they need. Is that answer to your question? Yeah. Yeah. I think it's okay for the time. Maybe a quick last question. No, it's okay. Okay. Thank you very much.